UConn down by 13, TO, in the first half against Providence, put up a 60 spot in the second half. They still have not figured out how to be able to stop anybody, stop dribble penetration, keep people from being able to get to the rim. Where do you stand on UConn now, big picture? Obviously, they've won 8 in a row since they got back from Maui, got a couple of decent wins in that run, a couple of performances where maybe it wasn't as impressive as it should have been.
Win's a win. Win's a win. I know Providence was about to be lit on fire if that would have happened, but it didn't happen. I thought Providence played really well as they possibly could have played. But I thought what ended up happening was UConn kind of exerted their physicality after Providence threw their best shot at him. And it was a really tough best shot. But then UConn kind of started rolling because their physicality lasts for that full 40 minutes, where I think Providence has some of that in them. It just hasn't been that consistent this season. So I think there's a wearing effect when you play UConn because they're going to continue doing their thing. If I'm Alex Caravan, though, I better start sliding them puppies, because I think a lot of people watching this game, especially opposing teams, they're going to be watching to see what did Providence do to exploit Connecticut a little bit. And I think that dribble drive right away, getting the right matchup, you're going to have to stay down and contest or do something to keep your balance, because it was tough. And, credit to Providence. They gave their all, played 8 guys, significant minutes, just didn't have enough to finish it out.
Tyler?
Well, congrats to Providence for keeping it close, but where I stand on UConn is a contender. I don't question this. You take away the trip from to Maui and what they've done post that and before that, UConn, to me, I just believe in Dan Hurley. I think he's going to have his team playing defense. They're going to figure it out. They're also more of a veteran team. I do like the kid, Samson Johnson. I think that he can be a rim protector. He's an athletic big. He can pick and roll, and he is a lob threat. And Caravan, even though you guys are a little critical of his defense, he is a big guard. He can knock down shots. And the Reed kid coming off the bench. Now, I really like his game. I think he's kind of old school. He will duck in. He will give you right hooks. He will score around the basket. I'm a big fan of UConn.
I think Terrace Reed, I thought his impact today, Rob, was so much bigger than his stat line indicated. Like, he's just everywhere. He brought a certain amount of physicality that I don't think Samson Johnson's quite capable of. Like, you bring Terrace Reed in there, that's like older brother on the block. Like, you got to come out there, and he's going to bring a certain type of play, a certain type of physicality. He's going to punch you in the mouth, and he's going to board. He's going to finish around the rim. Like, he brings a certain mentality with that second unit. I've kind of been curious as to why Samson Johnson's still in the starting lineup, to be honest with you. I like him, sure, but Terrace Reed just brings so much to that team. But I guess he's that second jolt of energy after that first media timeout. But where am I with UConn? I think they win a couple games in the tournament. Do I think they win a third national championship in a row? I don't think that's going to be the case, but I do think this is a really good team, and it's going to be a fun watch for the rest of the season. I almost feel weird because when I say they're not going to win a national championship, I almost feel like I'm sliding them, and that is the greatest compliment that you can give a program and its staff. Is I feel guilty for saying I don't think they can win a third national championship in a row. I do think they're very good, and I think they can make a second weekend. That's kind of where I'm at with UConn so far.
Yeah, I think it's the points about Terrace Reed I think are really important as far as why Samson's still starting. There's a leadership thing there that within that locker room that he kind of brings that I think is a dynamic that the staff likes. What I will say is this: Liam McNeely did not play in this game. He's got the ankle injury. He's expected to be out for, I think it's they said weeks. They're hoping for the end of January. I think that pushing for the Creighton game on January 18th is probably a little bit too optimistic, but we'll see. It's high ankle sprains, man. You never really know how long those things take. I thought Aidan Mahaney's performance off the bench today was so important for what UConn can be long-term and big picture, right? What Providence did on the defensive end was they overplayed everything on the wings. They switched every screen. They top locked. They did everything that they could to take away any kind of offensive set that UConn would run, and then they did not guard UConn's 5 at the top of the key, left their big in front of the rim to take away any back cuts. So they said, you're not going this way over the screen, and if you cut back door, we got 7-foot Oswin, however you say his last name, standing there in front of the bucket. Good luck trying to finish over him. And
that with UConn too, with UConn too, their point guard comes back and gets the ball on every freaking set they have. It's a bunch of wash until the point guard comes back and gets it. It's been like that for 3 years.
Yep.
They get creative. There's a lot of slips. They get creative. The point guard's always coming back to get the ball. Sorry, Rob. Go ahead with your.
No. It's an important point because Asan Diarra is not a guy. I know he had 19 and 8 tonight, right? But he's not a guy that you want being. Yeah, but in an ideal role, he's more of a facilitator than he is the guy that you have isolating, trying to create off the bounce. He's not his best skill is not as a scorer. Aidan Mahaney's best skill is as a scorer, and I thought that his ability to come in and create offense when Providence is basically saying you're going to have to beat us one-on-one with your guards, and that's how you're going to have to win this game. Mahaney had 15 points off the bench. I think he scored 12 of them in the second half, and most importantly, there was a level of fight from him defensively that I don't think we've seen yet this season. Like he's had a rough beginning of the year. He's not a great defender. And I think the fact that he's not a great defender is it's almost like a mental thing for him at this point. He knows that he's being targeted by opposing offenses. And it's if he gets beat off the dribble once, like he's not going to fight on that next possession. Tonight he did. I think that's really impressive. I think it's really important for them long-term. And I think he needed a shout out for that one. Tyler, with UConn, like they remind me a little bit of Alabama last year, where you're going to get points of them as long as they have like a 10-minute stretch where they actually can get some stops. I think that's what's going to end up being the difference maker for them. I'm still not convinced that can happen, but I mean they did it today.
Yeah, and here we go, Rob. I just think that they're big enough with Caravan. I think he has length. Sampson, even though he's not the typical duck in big, I think he is a rim protector. So even though they're not the best defensive team right now, I do think that they have certain players that as the season goes on will allow them to cover up some of their defensive flaws. Like Caravan having issues staying in front of the ball and allowing penetration into the lane. I think Sampson's a guy who's athletic enough to block those shots, provide rim protection, and make up for the lack of defense sometimes at the perimeter may present with UConn.